Welcome everybody to the DarkWolf's Den Show. Before we get started, I would ask that if you're able to please stand. If not, at least please put your hand over your heart for the playing of the Star Spangled Banner.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Things are better left unknown, and I'll never find you here, 'cause no one's ever home. Oh, what a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. Oh, what a sinner is it in her? What's the truth in this riddle? Is love really just this simple? I can't seem to find my way in this world that never stays. What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. What a sinner is it in her? Is this real? Just illusion. I'm lost in the wonderland of confusion. I'm lost in the wonderland of confusion. Is this real or just illusion? Manifestation or a dark delusion? Is this real or just illusion? I'm lost in a wonderland of confusion.
Rippin' Rabbit Hole is a community-driven radio. At times the community comments may reveal prejudices and other beliefs that we or our sponsors do not condone. Views or opinions expressed by the community, callers, or guests, are those of the individual speaking and do not represent the views or opinions of this site. Rippin' Common Sense content is intended for mature audiences only. Enjoy.
This is My Life DIY, and
Hi, this is JoJo.
Hi, my name is Ash.
Hey everybody, it's AJ the Rippin' Rabbit.
This is Cynthia Sue Larson.
This is your man Meta, aka Propagate This Light.
And you're now listening
to DarkWolf's Den.
The DarkWolf's Den Show on Rippin' Common Sense Radio.
Are ghosts real?
We had 1,000 hours of continuous communication with the spirit world.
Does time travel actually exist?
The laws of physics seem to be compatible with time machines.
You know, sometimes I wonder about reincarnation. Don't you?
A 4-year-old boy in Adelaide, Australia, has told his parents that he used to be Britain's Princess Diana.
What would happen if the world found out that aliens were real?
I didn't say disclosure would be easy, but what is the alternative?
To establish a space force as the 6th branch of the armed forces.
We have so many questions and yet so little time, so to have you here, the pleasure is all mine.
Coming to you from a secret cave, hidden deep within the wilderness. This is the DarkWolf's Den Show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and we are broadcasting live across the multiverse from a secret cave hidden deep within the wilderness of Tennessee. That's right, we're ripping through the electromagnetic soup, tearing through the atmosphere, and tunneling away into your radio like a quantum particle. This is the DarkWolf's Den Show for Wednesday, November the 3rd, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we continue our State of Mystery series as we travel to the great state of Maryland. And for those over on the YouTubes looking at the splash screen over there, no, that is not somebody skiing off the side of the M. In Maryland, that is actually the shape of the state, and that is not even anywhere near the weirdest part about Maryland, ladies and gentlemen. From UFOs to cryptids, ghosts, and so much more, Maryland is yet another state of mystery, and we'll get into all that and more here in just a moment. But first, let's go ahead and check our chat rooms, both on the DarkWolf's Den Show and the Rippin' Rabbit Hole YouTube channels, and see what you guys are doing over here. Quite a few of you guys stopping in now. I was starting to wonder there for a moment if anybody was actually going to drop in and say hello or just hang out listening. Welcome to everybody. Michael Fontaine first in the chat room says, oh yeah, I was stationed there also, APG AIT. That's pretty cool, Michael. So you've had some experience in Maryland. Had any paranormal experiences in Maryland, my friend? Alvy Yarder, I do apologize. I said, good to see you, Alves, over in the chat room. Just realized I'd misspelled that. Great to see you, Alvy Yarder. Says, hello, everyone. Hello, Elva. Go-Kart Bob, good to see you. Says, zap. All right. Short show? No, sir. That shortened intro just means we've got a whole lot more to cover, my friend. Same length, a lot more information. Who else we got here? Raider Champion dropping in the Wonderland link. I appreciate that, bud. Our amazing theme song by Chick, the Chick Mandela Effect, and Michael Musco in the instrumentals over there. Sandy B says, hi, everyone. Hi, Sandy B over in the Rippin' Rabbit Hole chat room. Over in the DarkWolf's Den Show chat room, JoJo's waving in with a hello. Boiling Frogs, ain't seen you in a while, my friend. Good to see you. Says, hey, Jerry and JoJo's. Hey, Boiling Frogs, good to see you, bud. It's great to see every last one of you guys here. You guys ready to have some paranormal fun tonight? And whether you're listening on YouTube or on Rippin' Rabbit Hole Radio in one of the 29 countries that we broadcast to, we appreciate every last one of you guys being here with us. And before we can get into the state of mystery of Maryland, of course, we have two more fun little segments to do. The first of which we call Today in History. On this day in 1955, Carlton E. Schwert and Fred L. Schaefer, two scientists, announced they have crystallized the pure polio virus, meaning they can better determine the virus's chemical and biological properties, something that, as of yet, they have failed to do with the current coronavirus. Trust the science, right? Trust the science they don't have. Anyway, they figured it out with polio on this day in 1955. And that is today's segment of Today in History. And from that work, they were actually able to create a real vaccine, unlike this gene therapy that they are trying to pass off today as a vaccine, something that doesn't even meet the true definition. That's why they had to change it. And that goes to show how crazy they are. And that brings us to our next crazy segment, a segment which we call Say What? Thank you, Stewie. God, I love that audio bite. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, our quote of the day today comes from the great John Lennon. He says, and I quote, "Our society is run by insane people for insane objectives. I think we're being run by maniacs for maniacal ends, and I think I'm liable to be put away as insane for expressing that." End quote. And once again, that was John Lennon. So even in his day, things were incredibly crazy. And even he couldn't have imagined the tyrannical craziness like we're dealing with now. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is today's segment of Say What? And speaking of crazy, our episode last week of Maine could not have been any creepier. I could not have chosen a better state to have done at the time of Halloween. The timing of these things is just insane because, as you guys know, we've been going in alphabetical order. So perhaps the state of Maryland will be, at least a little bit as spooky as the state of Maine. And we'll find out here in just a minute how crazy the cryptids are. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back our good buddy, Mr. Ben Miller. Ben, tell us about the cryptids of Maryland, bud.
Let's start with a controversial one, since there are a few places that claim it makes the state its home. This would be the cryptid that many of you should be familiar with, and that is the snallygaster.
I personally have heard of this cryptid before, but have you guys? Go ahead and put a 1 in the chat room if you've heard of this snallygaster before. Go ahead and put a 2 in the chat room if it's absolutely new to you, and a 3 in the chat room if maybe, but you're not quite sure.
West Virginia also is said to have this cryptid, but due to another creature in this video being tied to the snallygaster, I have to include it with Maryland. As a note, New Jersey and Ohio also claim that this being has been seen there as well. The snallygaster is said to be a large flying creature that was first reported in the 1730s. Descriptions vary, but it is said to have massive wings, look similar to a deformed dragon with a single eye in its head, a pointed shiny beak filled with razor-sharp teeth, and in some variations, it can have tentacles coming from its mouth.
This definitely sounds like one of the ugliest creatures that we've ever had on this show.
The sound of this creature is quite distinct, since its call is similar to a train whistle. This being was said to make its home primarily in Frederick County in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Originally it was given the name Schnellergeist, which was German for quick spirit. It was called such since at night it would silently and quickly swoop down on livestock and even unwary humans. More often than not, it carries its prey off, but in some versions of the story, it will actually suck the victim's blood.
So a very unique creature indeed. Almost like a mutated pterodactyl, right? but again, one that I had heard of before. Let's see what you guys said over in the chat room. 1, if you had heard of the Snallygaster before. 2, if it's a brand new cryptid to you. And 3, if you may have heard of it, but you're not sure. Let's see what you guys said over here. And we've got quite a few chiming in saying, no, I've never heard of this. Quite a few 2s on the board. Terry Taggart with a 2. Alva Yarder with a 2. Radiator Champion with a 2.2. A definite no. Boiling Frogs hopped on over to the Rip and Rabbit Hole chat with a 2. Mandani Mall jumping in with a 2. Nobody has heard of this thing. It's not one that you quite commonly hear about, for sure. Sandy B with the 2. Errol Taylor also with the 2. So 2s across the board in the Rip and Rabbit Hole chat room. Over in the Darkwolf's Den Show chat room, Chris Spivey, good to see you, my friend, said that horrible Jabberwocky thing going around society killed a family friend and gave a coworker a heart attack. Very sad to hear that. Always watch out for those cryptid things in society, right? Chris Spivey with a 2 says no, he's never heard of that either. JoJo's with a 1. Yes, she has run up on this case file before. So very, very interesting. Again, this is one that if you really haven't studied cryptids, I don't really expect anyone would have run across it. And Terry Taggart says, how do you spell that? SNQVWL. I don't even know. There's too many letters to even try to guess. And I like spelling, right? Snallygaster. And now, of course, that we've got a good idea of what this thing looks like, let's hear of the actual case files involved with this creature.
Sightings of this cryptid were spotty, with one man claiming that he had been picked up and dropped in the mountains by the beast in 1909. Then in the same year, it was seen flying around Cumberland, Hagerstown, and in the mountains between Gaplin and Burkittsville. Oddly enough, this last sighting was accompanied with the story that the Snallygaster was seen laying a giant egg. Finally, in March of 1909, 3 men in Frederick County claimed to fight off the being for over an hour and a half as it tried to attack them in the train yard. Things went silent for 23 years until the same creature was spotted again, and a rash of sightings started all over again. What is really odd is that the final report claims that the creature died from the fumes while flying over a moonshine still. What makes this odd is that the story claims unknown official individuals showed up, destroyed the still, and then disposed of the Snallygaster's body. Were they Men in Black from 1932?
I would actually say yes. Not the Men in Black we would traditionally be used to seeing, but anti-moonshiner government agents just the same.
One way to ward off the Snallygaster was to put a 7-pointed star on a barn, which you can still see variations of to this day. However, in a rare twist, this story goes from odd to downright strange, since the Snallygaster also has a mortal enemy that is also a cryptid, the Deweo.
I do have to agree with Ben. That does add a new level of strange, because we don't hear very often about these cryptids interacting with each other, right? You don't hear Bigfoot out beating the Loch Ness Monster, or Chupacabra and Bigfoot getting into a fight. Like, you just don't hear these things, right? So 2 cryptids being mortal enemies of each other just the same is definitely an interesting twist that we don't see in most cryptid stories that we've went over so far.
The Deweo is pretty much a normal dog man by description, other than it having a bushy tail. It walks on its back legs, is 6 feet tall, has dark fur, and a dog or wolf-like head.
And for anyone who has been listening to this series for a while, you'll know the Dogman is a pretty popular cryptid amongst a number of states.
While many people rely on this being to protect them from the Snallygaster, it has been known to attack humans as well. This creature has been spotted or heard for many years. Apparently its howl is quite terrifying, but due to it sounding like a baby crying or a woman screaming, there are other known animals that make those same sounds. In 1944, reports came in from residents in West Middleton who heard strange noises at night and then found large bipedal wolf prints in the day. In November of 1965, a man who wished to remain anonymous but went by the name of John Becker made a police report of his strange encounter. One night he heard strange noises coming from the forest around his house, which was located by Gambrel State Park. When he went outside to see what was causing the commotion, he saw a creature walking towards him that was as big as a bear, but it had shaggy fur, a bushy tail, and it growled like a wolf.
Now, this also quite reminds me of another state park quite close to myself, the LBL State Park monster, another one that is kind of obscure but has recently come to light in the last couple of years. I didn't think about it at first, but it really does make me wonder if this could be the same type of creature spread across a number of other states, also this DeWeo. And now, of course, that we've got so far.
The DeWeo is pretty much a normal dog man by description, other than it having a bushy tail. It walks on its back legs, is 6 feet tall, has dark fur, and a dog or wolf-like head.
And for anyone who has been listening to this series, two arguments can be made here. The argument that it's just one and the same creature, and it's gotten older, and like as dogs get older, for instance, their fur changes color. It could be that, or it could be a group of these creatures. What do you guys think? Put a 1 in the chat room if you think it's just one creature that's gotten older and the fur is different for that reason. 2 in the chat room if you think it's like a family of these things, a group of these creatures. 3 if you're completely unsure.
Even more interesting, in 1978, 2 park rangers near Cunningham Falls saw this creature as well. As a bit of a twist, the lore behind this creature is that it is known as a hexen wolf.
Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened. Looks like we had a little network burp there. My apologies.
It is said that the 7-pointed stars painted on barns to dissuade the snallygaster are actually a symbol of the wolf. From what I can tell, apparently the DeWeo is capable of killing a snallygaster.
Now, the introduction of the 7-point star in this story is really an odd twist, right? Because apparently it's a warning to the snallygaster that the DeWeo is in the area, right? That they're welcome in that spot because they need the snallygaster to be run away. Really interesting. It's just, again, very unique to the state, something we don't see or haven't seen in previous type case files of cryptids. But let's see what you guys said over here about the DeWeo and whether or not you think that it is the same creature that had grown older and had changed fur color. That was 1. 2, if you think it's just a series or a family of these creatures, more than one. And 3 in the chat room if you're unsure. Let's see what you guys said over here. Okay, looks like we've got a little network issue we had there. I do apologize. Hopefully we're coming in a little bit better now. Over here in the chat we've got Terry Taggart with a 1. It definitely could be one in the same creature. 3 from Alviator, not quite sure. Errol Taylor with a 3. Sandy B also with a 3. The DeWeo, you know what? That's another one I don't know. D-U-W-way ow. DeWeo. I couldn't even dare to guess the way to spell half these cryptids, right? Michael Fontaine with a question mark. Chris Spivey with a 2. No, definitely different creatures altogether. 3.4 for Earth Daughter, definitely way out of the ballpark of not sure. And of course, so far we have went over the snallygaster as well as a version of the dog man. But Ben, does the state of Maryland have any more unique cryptids that we don't normally find in other states?
Let's move from dogs and bird-like creatures and look at a being of the feline variety.
This is another type of cryptid that we very rarely see. Not to say that we never do, but you don't find a lot of feline-styled cryptids, right?
This creature is known as the Wicomico cat. In the autumn of 1980, 4 teenagers were hanging out in their car at the local landfill in Wicomico County. As the night went on, one of the members was shocked to see a pair of glowing yellow eyes staring at him through the window of the car. Terrified, the group left the area as quick as they could. However, curiosity would get the better of them, and they decided to investigate the area after they picked up some more friends. This time when they returned, they had 2 vehicles, and they parked in a way so that the headlights lit up as much of the landscape as possible. The group all waited in silent anticipation, just hoping to catch a glimpse of what had scared them previously. The hours drug on without seeing anything, and finally they were all ready to call it a night. It was then that someone noticed a large black figure in a sitting position by a group of trees. Everyone watched in horror as they saw this being slink and twist between the lights of the cars. Before long, the creature emerged into full eyesight, and it was something from a person's nightmares. It had a sinewy body that was covered in shaggy black fur. It had a long skinny tail that whipped about. It had long claws in each foot, and its face was a mix between a human and a cat.
Are they sure that it wasn't an actor from a Broadway play? I'm just saying.
The beast then charged at one of the vehicles and grabbed a hold of the driver's side door. It then used one of its arms to start pounding on the glass. This was enough action for the group, and the driver tried to quickly get away. It was at this point they realized the creature's claws had become stuck in the door. As they drove away, the Catman let out a high-pitched scream until it finally freed itself. The group immediately stopped at the police station and filled out a report. The next day they inspected the car and saw very deep claw marks in the middle of the door.
As would be expected if you encountered a human-sized cat.
The police searched the landfill but couldn't find anything. There were other reports of the same creature afterwards, but none had such details as this. It is interesting to note that the Native American tribes in the area did have legends of such a being. As such, they feared the creature since it was known to kill humans.
And I've said it 100 times and I cannot stress it enough. There's one thing when, people report something like this on the random, but when the Native Americans have told you legends about this that they already knew about, I tend to take those a little more seriously than most case files, right?
Some feel that due to the human-looking face, it could have been an experiment that went wrong, or something in the landfill mutated a normal cat. I just wonder if they didn't come across the normal panther.
Now, the lab experiment does make a lot of sense. I'm not so sure about the mutation, but I can definitely say I don't think it's just a regular panther. I don't think a regular panther would use its arm to try to break a window, for one. Number two, I don't think it would leave such claw marks if it got its claws stuck in the door. It would probably pull away real quickly and run, not try to continue to attack the car. But moving on now, from snallagasters and dogmen and human cats to a creature that we have seen besides the dogman in a number of different states. Ben, what is our last cryptid for the evening, sir?
Finally, we're going to look at one of the more popular cryptids in Maryland, and that would be the Goat Man.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Maryland has its own version of the Goat Man.
This half-man, half-goat-like being is said to roam about the forests and roads around the Beltsville and Bowie areas. While most creatures I talk about are fairly cut and dry, this one has an odd inclusion, and that is a backstory. Some claim this being started off as simply a sheep farmer who transformed into the creature after making a blood oath when some teenager snuck onto his property and killed his livestock. However, the most common story is that he started out life as a scientist working at the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center. After a failed experiment involving the splicing of DNA, he mutated into this cryptid.
And that actually seems like the most feasible of the stories, right?
Whatever the story is, many claim to see this 7-foot-tall goat man with shaggy, dirty white fur roaming about the area carrying an axe, like some cryptid form of Jason Voorhees, minus the mask and machete. Legend goes that he was first responsible for killing a dog and then moved on to humans. There are stories that he made a bit of a habit of attacking vehicles and is strong enough to cause a lot of damage. This creature is known to actually break into people's homes to attack them, but it seems its favorite haunt is on Fletchertown Road. This is locally known as Lover's Lane, and he has been spotted outside the windows of many people's cars while they were hoping for some other type of non-paranormal activity.
It's almost like it's deliberately messing with these people on Lover's Lane, right?
The other location that this creature likes to visit a lot is an overpass known as Crybaby Bridge. With the backstory and such, I would find this being questionable, but there are a lot of similar looking cryptids seen in other states.
As we mentioned a little bit ago, if you've been paying attention to this show throughout the state series, you'll know that the Goat Man and the Dog Man show up quite often in these states, believe it or not.
Not to mention, tales of similar beings were frequently talked about in ancient myths. A fan named Vladimir Bonilla talked about a sighting he had back in 2009. He was picking up his girlfriend at the time from her aunt's house near Bowie. While waiting for her to leave the house, he noticed a large 7-foot-tall creature with shaggy, dirty white hair, with horns on its head and hooves for feet, slipping into the nearby forest. Vladimir feels that the creature didn't see him, since he escaped the encounter without anything bad happening. Since that time, he has parked at Crybaby Bridge, and has been treated with the sounds of heavy stomping, low grunts, and blood-curdling screams. So, who knows? There may be more of this cryptid than meets the eye.
Every time I hear these Goat Man stories, I think of the devil's footprints that were left in England, I do believe it was. These footprints look like the hoofprints of, say, a goat creature, but they would go up walls, over houses, back down the other side of the wall, and all these tracks were left in snow. So it's really interesting when we hear these type of creatures, and it makes you wonder, though they called it a devil back then, perhaps it was just another one of these goat men. Before we go to break, though, we have to have at least one Bigfoot story per state, right? And Maryland is no exception.
It goes without saying that much like any other state, there are high numbers of Bigfoot sightings, such as the famous Sykesville Monster. I also saw reports of a creature known as the What Is It, or Jabberwock. For some descriptions, it appears to be a reptilian, but most others claim it simply was a version of the Jersey Devil. From the late 1880s until January 30th of 1909, people in Greensboro kept finding odd hoof prints in the snow on the ground and on their roofs.
Now, the Greenville particular case file I had never heard of. The one that I had heard that I literally just mentioned a moment ago to you guys was in England, not even in the USA. So that's interesting that we have a case file in the USA just like the ones from the, I want to say it was pre-1800s in UK. Perhaps it was 1800s.
Its description matched completely with the Jersey Devil, and since that cryptid has been known to venture as far north as New York, I figure, why couldn't it head south as well? I am sure the name was given to it from the 1871 poem titled Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll, and was included in his sequels to Alice in Wonderland.
And I said it at the beginning of the episode, and I'm more convinced now than ever that Maryland has the most unique cryptids in all of the Union. But you guys know, ladies and gentlemen, that music means we have to go ahead and take a network break right here. So my name is Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and you're listening to the Darkwolf's Den Radio Show exclusively on Rippin' Common Sense Radio Network, the Rippin' Rabbit Hole. We'll be right back with the second half of the Darkwolf's Den Show after these messages. Don't you touch that dial. That's right.
We gotta stoke the fires and run off the men in black. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Oh yeah, that howl means your weekend has begun. Hi everyone, it's AJ the Rippin' Rabbit. Are you enjoying tonight's Darkwolf's Den Radio Show State of Mystery for Maryland? I know I am. If you are and you haven't done so already, please make sure to thumb up that video, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell. You'll get our notifications every time we go live. We're here every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights, bringing you the very best of Common Sense Radio the Rippin' Rabbit Hole. Jerry Hicks and the Darkwolf's Den Show will return again tomorrow night, Thursday, November 4th. As the Freedom Flame series continues, he's going to be addressing To the Republic. Join him at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, and explore part 2 in the series, To the Republic. Then I'll return Friday, November 5th, with a look at cover-ups. That's right. Journey with me down the rabbit hole of mistakes and the people who make them, and more important, the tactics that are used to cover them up. That's Friday, November 5th. Then Saturday night, a follow-up, part 2 of blackmail. That's right. Usually cover-ups involve blackmail. That's Saturday, November 6th, as we dive down the blackmail rabbit hole. Then Sunday night, join us for the very best interactive family game night on radio, Beat Eugene the 6th. That's right. Will you beat Eugene, or perhaps will he beat you? Tune in Sunday night, November 7th at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, and find out. Eugene, are you beatable?
My answer is it is not certain.
It is not certain, but one thing that is for certain is before the end of the weekend, we will have the answer to that question. If you haven't done so already, please hop on over to our website, rippinrabbithole.com. That's RIPONRABBITHOLE.com. There you can sign up for your exclusive backstage VIP pass and join us where the conversation continues after the show, down the rabbit hole. It's absolutely free to do so, and it always will be. It's going to give you unlimited access to our privatized social media network where the freedom flame burns. We're not going to censor. We're not going to remove. We're not going to shadow ban you like some of those other big tech guys. No, no, no. So sign up today. We'll return back now to the Darkwolf's Den Radio Show, State of Mystery for Maryland, Wednesday, November 3rd, 2021. You're listening to the Rippin' Common Sense Radio Network, the Rippin' Rabbit Hole.
Reestablishing multiverse connection. Connection reestablished and secure.
This is My Life DIY, and
Hi, this is JoJo. Hi, my name is Ash.
Hey everybody, it's AJ the Rippin' Rabbit.
This is Cynthia Sue Larson.
This is your man Meta, aka Propagate This Light.
And you're now listening
to Darkwolf's Den.
The Darkwolf's Den Show on Rippin' Common Sense Radio.
If you were meant to be controlled, you would have come with a remote, but you didn't. And that's why you listen to the Darkwolf's Den Show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and welcome back to the second half of the Darkwolf's Den Show for Wednesday, November the 3rd, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of a reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight so far we have went over the cryptids of the state of Maryland, a wild variety of cryptids at that, from goat men to cat people to dog men, and even the snallygaster. If you don't know what that is, go back and listen to the first half. But ladies and gentlemen, as we move through our cryptids, we really did not have a lot in the way of UFOs. As a matter of fact, I was able to find one news article that suggested that Maryland is actually the worst place to see UFOs. UFO. With all the water surrounding Maryland, I highly disagree, but I haven't been able to find a lot of case files to back my conjecture either, so perhaps I'm wrong about that one. But either way, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to pretty much skip the UFOs tonight, and we're going to jump straight to the ghosts of Maryland.
Fort Frederick State Park. Fort Frederick State Park in Big Pool was built by the colony of Maryland in 1756 as a refuge for settlers.
And I've said many times on this show that I'm surprised the entire south of the United States isn't haunted because of the Civil War. But I would also make the same statement about the New England states, as it holds a large amount of history of the United States in the New England area, especially Maryland being one of the first and earlier colonies of the United States.
It stood through the French War and also acted as a POW camp during the Revolutionary War, so it's no wonder there are more than a few souls still lingering.
Another trend that we have seen in this state series is the idea that the wartime deaths, for whatever reason, have a much stronger impact, and those tend to be ones that are almost guaranteed to be haunting areas.
Park staff and visitors have reported a wide range of occurrences on the grounds, including extreme cold spots, shadowy apparitions stalking the parking lot, and odd noises after dark. Several actors on site have reported feeling an angry and hostile presence in the area, no one for following them until they leave. Those who have sighted it describe it as a short, black, shadowy smoke that drifts silently across the grounds.
And yet the people are able to sense an intent, albeit a negative intent, as this smoke comes near them, right? As this apparition is around.
The USS Torsk. The USS Torsk in Baltimore was built and launched in 1944 and is now open to the public at the Baltimore Maritime Museum. It was active during World War II, where it earned the nickname the Galloping Ghost of the Japanese coast. During a training dive, a man named Joseph Grant Snow missed the call to get below deck and was pulled under. His body never recovered. To this day, many on board have reported seeing his ghost scrambling desperately to climb back on board. He has been known to cause splashing sounds in the water at night, unnatural cold spots, and move objects on the deck. Those who have encountered this apparition up close report they don't feel threatened, and, on several occasions, he's even stopped to talk with visitors and answer questions.
Now that is one truly devoted soldier, right? Never left his ship of port. But seriously, I love when we hear ghost stories like this that aren't exactly threatening or scary, but just seem to be more playful, which is something I've had experience with myself. Thank goodness I've not had the scary ghosts around me either, at least that I know of, anyway. Anyway, moving on to the next one on our list, ladies and gentlemen.
The National Museum of Civil War Medicine.
Like I've said before with any war, but with the Civil War especially, with the amount of emotional trauma involved with that war across this country, I expect anything connected to the Civil War to have a haunting connected to it, right? Don't you?
The National Museum of Civil War Medicine in Frederick was established in 1990 and is housed in the historic Carty Building. The building was built prior to the Civil War and served as an undertaker's business for a period of time. Visitors and staff to the museum have reported a wide range of occurrences, including strange sounds when no one else is around, objects moving on their own, even disappearing, and extreme cold spots. Multiple full-bodied apparitions have been sighted here as well, including a ghostly soldier and a mysterious woman in black.
So this is not just a one ghost event. This is a multitude of ghosts in one spot. I'm sure a multitude of ghosts that most likely probably don't even get along with each other.
The phantom sounds of children playing have been heard on numerous occasions, and one witness reported having a ladder pushed out from under her, forcing her to hang from ceiling pipes until help arrived. The spirits here are believed to be tied to the various items displayed at the museum.
Which is not uncommon, at least according to some theory, for the spiritual energy to be connected specially to an item, whether it be a mirror or a dresser or especially things from the Civil War, medicine of the time that was used, the scalpels, the different variety of objects I could only imagine that they have in that museum. And it's not the only museum on our list tonight, interestingly enough.
The Edgar Allan Poe House and Museum. The Edgar Allan Poe House and Museum in Baltimore was built in the 1830s and was once home to Poe himself, his aunt, and several other family members throughout the years.
Somehow, like Edgar Allan Poe's house being haunted seems to me like the least surprising thing. It's almost like I would expect nothing less of a house owned by somebody as dark as Edgar Allan Poe with his writings, right?
Though the spirit of Edgar has never been sighted, it is, in fact, rumored to be haunted. The apparition here appears as a tall, heavy-set woman in clothing from the 1800s. She has been sighted throughout the house and is believed to be responsible for opening and closing doors and windows, turning lights on and off, and turning on faucets.
Which sounds harmless, but when the bill comes in, could you imagine trying to tell your water company, no, I didn't use all that water, the ghost won't quit turning stuff off, right?
Also reported are objects moving on their own, extreme cold spots, footsteps in empty rooms, and the inexplicable feeling of fear. Many have also reported what appears to be a ghostly lantern or candle bobbing through the halls at night.
All jokes aside, guys, this really does intrigue me as a case file, because if you hear like the Edgar Allan Poe House and Museum, you expect you're going to hear Edgar Allan Poe's ghost, right? And they very explicitly said that has not been seen here, amazingly enough. It is different apparitions that are there, a female apparition at that. So it makes it a little more believable to me, right? Instead of just saying it's Edgar Allan Poe's ghost, it's not his ghost, it's someone else. So even though it's in his house, I'm more inclined to trust that case file. Another thing you can trust with these case files in these ghost episodes, or ghost portions of the state episodes, I should say, is the fact that we will have a haunted college of some type. And this has been true for every state that I can think of so far. I do apologize we weren't able to get to the haunted colleges episode during the Halloween season as I had planned, as we had a couple schedule changes there. And when we get to the State of Mystery series, perhaps we'll pick up on the random paranormal again. But once again, there is a haunted college in Maine. It's not the type of college we normally hear about, though.
The United States Naval Academy. The United States Naval Academy in Annapolis was founded in 1845 on the site of what was formerly Fort Severn, making the entire campus a historic landmark. In 1905, Lieutenant James Sutton was found naked, beaten, and shot. Several claimed he went insane and killed himself, but family and friends thought this impossible, and it's believed that his killer was never found.
Well, I highly doubt he beat himself, let alone took himself out. I could be wrong, I don't know the person, but just the same, it's a traumatic incident, whether he did it to himself or whether it is what it is believed that it was done to him. That is definitely a traumatic incident. We know incidents like that, more times than not, cause a haunting, right?
His spirit has been sighted on multiple occasions wandering the grounds, a lost look on his face. He's been known to float above those sleeping, materialize through walls, and even peek in windows.
So this is definitely not a friendly haunting like the first one we heard by any means, right? But he's not the only ghost on the grounds.
In 1792, when it was still Fort Severn, Naval Commander John Paul Jones died and was eventually interred in the Academy Chapel after years in an unmarked grave. He has been sighted in his old uniform and has been known to cheerily wave at those who visit. He's also been known to cause strange noises when the chapel is empty and even hold full conversations with the living.
So, two hauntings, same location, two different ends of the spectrum as far as a fun, nice haunting, if you will, opposed to somebody hovering over you and peeking in the windows, things like that. Just so many weird differentials, you have to wonder if it doesn't come down to the person's personality, which would again suggest that personality and consciousness being one and the same thing, in my opinion, would be what crosses over or, still remains after the body goes. It just seems to me more evidence for the idea of the afterlife being very real, right?
Hampton National Historic Site. Hampton National Historic Site in Townsend was originally home to the Ridgely family, who lived in the estate from 1745 to 1948 through several generations. Priscilla Ridgely, one of the original ladies of the home, was said to be severely depressed, rarely leaving her room during life. Her spirit has been seen often by family, staff, and guests, and appears donning a gray gown. Also commonly seen is the ghost of Tom, a faithful butler that served the family for his entire life. He's been known to pop up suddenly and even chat in length with guests.
And once again, just like we heard a second ago, we have this person interacting with the living in a nice way, like a caretaker type spirit, which again was a butler. That makes even more sense. But this is another thing that we've seen over and over. We see certain tropes that start to show themselves, and this caretaker spirit seems to be one that shows up over and over.
Lastly, Signet Swan, daughter of Governor Swan, came here to recover from an illness. On the night of a party, she was found dead in her room. Her ghostly form has been sighted on numerous occasions, mainly in the bedroom, donning a ball gown and brushing her long blonde hair. Also reported are displays mysteriously torn down in the Great Hall, doors and windows opening and closing on their own, and objects moving, even floating through the air.
So again, we have the extra traumatic death, which seems to be having an impact on the type of spirit, right? A traumatic death being more of a vengeful spirit coming back, whereas a natural death or something closer to that is more of a protective spirit, right? An accident would be more of a protective spirit, whereas a wronged lover or a murderer or something to that degree tends to be more of a negative spirit. So I don't know, it's just something I noticed in this episode that I hadn't quite noticed before. Perhaps I'm wrong, never know. But another thing I've noticed in this episode is everything had multiple ghosts, right? It didn't matter which place it was, whether a battlefield or a museum, we find a multitude of ghosts, not just one ghost haunting in a room or a house, something like that. I don't know, it's just something we don't really see all the time. Quite unique, if you ask me. But what do you guys think? Let me ask you. Do you think that the state of Maryland is a true state of mystery, from the cryptids of the Schnallagaster to the multitude of ghosts that roam through the state? Or do you think that perhaps we're barking up the wrong tree? In the end, ladies and gentlemen, all you can do is look at the evidence, apply a little common sense, and you be the judge. We got to close it out. That's right, that's it for this episode of the DarkWolf's Den Radio Show for Wednesday, November the 3rd, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, the den may be closing, but don't you worry, the weekend fun has only just begun now that we've got it kicked off right. That's right. Tomorrow, Thursday, November the 4th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10, 9 Central. All shows on Ripin' Common Sense Radio start at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10, 9 Central. Tomorrow we will be back with an all-new episode titled To the Republic. It's been a big discussion for quite a while whether America is a democracy or a republic. And we're going to discuss all that and more tomorrow, Thursday, November the 4th, 2021, on the Freedom Flame series, episode 2. That's right. Then on Friday, November the 5th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, our buddy AJ the Rippin' Rabbit returns with an all-new episode of the Rippin' Rabbit Hole live show. That's right. On Friday, he will be talking about cover-ups. So, as a person that studied the paranormal and the ufology for so long, I can tell you cover-ups are very, very much a thing when it comes to our government, as well as governments around the world. And that's not to count the political cover-ups that happen all the time. AJ will be discussing all that and more on Friday, November the 5th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. Then on Saturday, November the 6th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, our buddy AJ the Rippin' Rabbit will be back with another episode of the Rippin' Rabbit Hole live show. This time he'll be discussing blackmail, which is one of the ways they use to do cover-ups, as he discussed on Friday night, right? So he'll be carrying on that discussion into blackmail, one of the many ways that are used to control people and create cover-ups, right? As well as many other bad things in government and anywhere else for that matter. And AJ will be diving into all that and more on Saturday, November the 6th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. Then on Sunday, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, it is the first of the month once again. And of course, you guys know the first of the month means the most fun you can have on radio. That's right, it is Beat Eugene, episode 5. That's right. Can you beat Eugene in a night of trivia, puzzles, questions, and fun? That's right. Only time will tell if you're able to grab the podium and beat Eugene. Personally, I definitely will be trying. We'll see how far Jerry gets, but we will definitely be playing Beat Eugene on Sunday, November 7th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. And that will round out the weekend here at the RippinRabbitHole.com, Rippin' Common Sense Radio. And speaking of the RippinRabbitHole.com, make sure you hop on over to the RippinRabbitHole.com and sign up for your free backstage pass. That is going to get you access to all of the rest of the fun features on the Rippin' Rabbit Hole. That's right, like the 24/7 backstage lounge where we played the Tuesday night videos last night. That was a lot of fun. I was able to get up on the board, but nowhere near our 5-time champion, however many time champion, Miss Sandy B. So congratulations, Sandy B, once again winning the Tuesday night videos mystery box edition. That's right. Also, while you're over on the RippinRabbitHole.com, make sure you drop down the rabbit hole. That's right. And join our social media network over there. We have a social media wall that is a lot less censored than Facebook and Twitter and all those garbage sites that everybody uses, right? So come on over, drop your information down the rabbit hole and share it with the rest of the rabbits, where we will not be censoring your info. That's right. Also, there is always breaking news. As a matter of fact, there's a brand new article up on the front page of the RippinRabbitHole.com about the exposure of Rippin' Press. That's right, the vote manipulation that was occurring on their website. Really good article. I would suggest going to check it out, ladies and gentlemen. And there's always new news articles up on the site. Anytime there's something going on, we keep you up to date every day. That's right. And while you're scrolling down to the front page, you're also going to find, as well as different stories we went over before, a large plethora of recipes, a lot of them looking kind of seasonal right now. But if you're at a time in the week when you're looking for something for dinner and don't know what to make, come on over and check out the RippinRabbitHole.com. You might find some recipes that you enjoy. So from recipes to chat rooms to social media walls and even news, we've got everything you need at the RippinRabbitHole.com. That is RippinRabbitHole.com. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. And that's going to do it for us tonight. So on behalf of AJ the Rippin' Rabbit, Chick Mandela Effect, Michael Musco, Walt House, everyone involved in Ripin' Common Sense Radio, as well as our amazing mod team and Tom Bayless from Red Shed Studios. Get down with it, Tom. If you're looking for a custom soundtrack for your next project, check out Red Shed Studios. Links in the descriptions. On behalf of all these folks, my name is Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. And remember, until next time, stay awake, but dare to dream. That's right. Let's go, Brandon. Bye, everybody. You guys ready? Let's go, Brandon.
Lost and into the dark. Some things are better left unknown. And I'll never find you here. 'Cause no one's ever
Let's go, Brandon FJB. Let's go, Brandon FJB. Let's go, Brandon FJB. Let's go, Brandon FJB. Let's go, Brandon FJB.
What's the truth in this riddle? Is love really just this simple? I can't seem to find my way in this world that never stays.
Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon FJB.
What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. What a sinner. Is it in her?
Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon FJB. FJB.
Is this real or just illusion? Manifestation or a dark delusion?
Let's go, Brandon.
Is this real or just illusion? I'm lost in a wonderland of confusion.
So is JB. That's right, FJB. Let's go, Brandon. That's how he lives permanently, actually. In a wonderland of confusion, that's right. FJB. Let's go, Brandon. Make sure you're out there hunting this season, ladies and gentlemen. Get all the deer you can before the government does. At least that's my opinion, anyway. FJB. Good night, everybody.